Anyway.
We are very fortunate to have tonight three speakers who have one thing in common. Well, they have probably many things in common, but one thing that I've identified. They each understand what it means to start and maintain a successful business. They have experienced what it takes to sustain a long-term viable business. So in front of you, in the blue folders, I've put copies of their profiles, but I'd like to introduce them how I see them. Okay.
You're worried, Craig.
You're very worried, Craig. You're very worried. Okay, our first speaker tonight is Pauline Tregenza. In May of this year, I was looking for a lawyer to sit on our panel of experts. I received a phone call from Lloyd Kerr, the gentleman sitting over there, one of our sponsors, and he said to me, "So you've got to meet this lady, Pauline Tregenza. She's a lawyer, she's funny, you'll love her." So knowing Lloyd, he chooses his words very carefully and deliberately. So I was intrigued and I invited her along and trusted Lloyd that what he said was absolutely spot on. So she came along, and to my delight, she was extremely entertaining, quick-witted, funny, and very, very informative. So after reading her profile more closely, I realised that Pauline not only works as special counsel at Hunt & Hunt Lawyers, but she successfully established her own law practice prior to that called Tregenza Forbes & Associates. Didn't realise that. Pauline Tregenza is speaking tonight about the 7 keys of business success. Her experience in her own small business makes her more than qualified to talk to you about the subject of this and because of her involvement in her own business. So thank you. Please welcome Pauline Tregenza.
That's a very hard act to follow. I'm not even going to try and follow it. I'm almost tempted to give up what I was going to talk about and just follow on with what Sue is talking about. There is so much that she says that I identify with. The dinosaur in computers, the laziness in learning, the inability to adopt new ways of doing business. The fact that I gave up my business says to you just how good I was at it. Now, but the fact that I did run my own business is one of the reasons that I can identify and work with other people in business. And it's one of the skill sets that I have. I have a couple of other skill sets, but we can't talk about those. Why is a lawyer talking to business people about keys to business success and not about the law? One could say that the law is boring. I don't. One could say that business success and people who are successful in business means that they don't need people like me. Why? Because they do it properly. Why? Because they're compliant. What can I do to help people in business? I can as a lawyer, and I do as a lawyer. Why am I talking to you about the 7 keys to business success? Because I went to a seminar. I got a book, and the presenter was one of those with the mobile phone hanging off the end and said, "Are we having a good time tonight? Is there anybody here who's not having a good time? Tell me where you want to be in 5 years." And I thought, I don't want to be here. I'm a lawyer. I charge $350 an hour. I charge $400 an hour. It was a 4-hour seminar. He was wasting my time. The delivery was awful. Now, you can leave tonight, except you've probably got a very good speaker after me, so hang around for her and for Craig. But the thing that I found was the delivery was awful, the content was magic. The content was really, really excellent. Which is why I've plagiarised it from 4 others. I've got the handouts. You can't have them till I've finished speaking. But I do need to acknowledge Rob Nixon, who wrote the book, who delivered a bloody awful presentation, but it was full of enthusiasm, but who actually gave me a great deal that I didn't take away from the seminar, because I have to tell you I left. But I read his book. I learned a great deal about it from his book, which is why you've got the handout. You can leave, go outside, have a drink and come back when it's over, and you can still learn a great deal. The other thing was, as a business owner, a couple of years ago, a bit more than that, I decided I needed help. As a business person, I made a great lawyer. I wasn't a good business person. Thank God I recognised it and went outside for help. Hey, guess where I went? I went to Action International, the precursor to Clive. So I plagiarised what he gave me. A gorgeous man called Andrew. And I was explaining earlier, he was too young for me. I kept wanting his value system to be the same as mine. I kept wanting him to explain it in a language and in a cultural way that I could understand. But I learned a great deal, and I want to share part of that with you. Then there was another one I learned. I picked it up from somewhere. So I can't ascribe the credit to anybody, but it's the 10 timeless marking truths. And I swear by them. And I'm going to share those with you tonight. I need a timekeeper. The thing I would also like to say to you tonight is your time is valuable. Don't waste it listening to people who can't help you do what you want to do. Don't devalue your time by listening to useless information. Get up and leave. Huh? My time is valuable. It's also expensive. Why? Because I'm good at what I do. I have to be. I say to clients when I say to them, 1, I'm charging you $350 an hour. 2, I want it up front. But they say, sorry, that. I say to them, you can go to a solicitor who will charge you $100 an hour or $200 an hour. They will take 5 or 6 hours to give you what you need. I charge you $350 per hour, and I ought to be able to deliver this to you in 1 or 2 hours. You tell me which is better value for money. And the clients go, wow. And then, of course, I have to deliver. But part of that delivery is that, just as Sue was saying, I'm very narrow in my field. I do business law. I work with people in business. I only deal with people who have problems in business. Not necessarily problems, but who need help to get their business structured, to wind it up, to liquidate it. We hand them over to Lloyd. We had a few over to Lloyd. I talk to them about when they go into business, and when they're going into the business, I say to them, what are we going to do when you're ready to leave? And we talk about it then. And we talk about their kids. And they say, oh yeah, my son's going to take over. I nearly swore there and I was going to say rubbish. It's not going to happen. Let's look at other ways. What's that got to do with the 7 keys to business success? Everything. The first thing, and I'll read the 7 keys out to you. The first one is focus. Let's pick up on what Sue was saying. Focus. Don't be all things to all people. Okay? Secondly, numbers. Manage everything by the numbers. Well, that's easy for a bookkeeper. Easier for an accountant. Damn easy for Lloyd. Craig does it for a living. Me, I'm still trying to work a calculator. As part of those numbers, one of the things, and this is where Action International comes, and I'll show it to you, lovely little pieces of paper, 4 ways to make your business work more effectively and efficiently. It's wonderful. Over the page, 5 ways to increase your business profits. Not necessarily increase your hourly rate. How to increase your profit. How do you increase your profit margin? So you give more work to your bookkeeper. As a lawyer, when you're looking at words, and I craft words for a living, you don't call yourself a bookkeeper. You are a keeper.